We're ready.
Okay.
All right. Hey. Hey everyone. I'm Eric Barnes. I will be hosting the live stream as we go into breaks, lunch hours, everything else. So we've already watched 2 talks today. The event is crazy. There's like 1,000 people here.
Yeah, it's packed.
So we're coming to you live from Amsterdam. So with me today on the very first break, we have Mr. Joe Tannenbaum. Tannenbaum. All right, let me. I'm gonna hand him. I'll hold the mic and let you introduce yourself and tell everybody who you are.
Sure. My name is Joe Tannenbaum. I lead the open source team at Laravel. So all things open source are basically Taylor and I, and then we now have a team of 7. I think we have seven folks now. So yeah, recently expanded, cranking out a lot of work right now. So we're really excited about what's coming down the pipeline, which you'll hear a lot about actually at this conference. So yeah.
All right. So, okay. Well, so I had a list of questions in my head, and you've just ruined the questions I had. So, 7 people just on the open source open source side.
I believe it's 7 at this point. Yeah.
7.
Yeah.
That's just wild to me how Laravel as a company is continuing to give back into open source and basically to the community and to everybody. So.
Yeah.
That part's amazing. How do you feel about that?
The ecosystem is constantly growing. Like, we're constantly adding packages. The scope is always widening. So we just needed more manpower. So we expanded the team, and it's been really helpful. And especially in the advent of like all this AI stuff, we're moving what feels like 1,000 miles an hour now. So we have more people plus robots helping. It's really cooking at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, so so as you mentioned the AI stuff, it feels like we're in that year of Laravel AI. It almost feels like from January 1 until today, it's just been AI releases after another. From the open source side, how do you see that sort of progressing over the next year or so?
Yeah, I mean, we are trying to make it easier and easier to actually allow people to work with AI and Laravel. Like, that is a big focus to make the code that's being generated really opinionated and strong best practices, which is great because there's a lot of examples already. Like, Laravel has a lot of baked-in opinions, which makes it easy for AI to understand and generate. Right? There's a lot of guardrails in place already, and one of the things that we're focusing on is creating more programmatic guardrails so that you can verify, things even like Wayfinder, which generates from one side to the other. It's already generated code, so that kind of puts up guardrails to say I know this works because both sides of the equation understand what's happening here from a programmatic perspective. So a lot of that kind of thing is what we're leaning into. And then obviously with Boost and everything and the AI SDK, we're trying to attack this from all angles, as many angles as we can. So yeah.
I love that. And so from a little back history, so you were responsible for the VS Code extension back a couple years ago, and it's still out. My question is sort of related to that, and AI. Do you see IDEs and editors going away in the next 5 years?
That's a good question. I hear a lot of people saying they're not in their IDE anymore. I am very much in my IDE. I think when you, okay, I'm gonna say something that I don't know. Lukewarm take. I think if you're generating personal software, if you're generating code that nobody's ever gonna see, I can understand why you're not in your IDE. For our stuff, the stuff we're doing, it's open source. The code is out there. People are gonna see it. I think it's still important we generate a lot of code, but we put human eyeballs on all of that code, and that requires being in the IDE. So I think for certain segments of developers, IDEs are going to become significantly less important, for sure. But I don't see it for myself. I'm not, as Ian says, putting the blast shields up totally. I mean, I'm still in there. I'm still in the mix. Yeah.
Sweet, yeah. And it's just interesting, from my point of view, I just do Laravel News, we write articles, things like that, and it's been so rare this year that I've actually had to open the IDE, but I don't do a lot of development work much anymore. So that it's kind of funny how there's this transition moving and going on. So that leads me to the next open source thing. You're big into the starter kits of Laravel. How many do we have now?
Okay. So that's an interesting question at this exact moment. We have much more. We just expanded. We did a Svelte variation on all of our starter kits. It always bothered me that we had a first-party Svelte support through Inertia, but we didn't have Svelte on anywhere else. So we did starter kits, we did the Stream package is now Svelte supported, and we're in the final review for the Echo package as well. So like all that's going to get, Svelted up. That being said, the starter kits got really hard to manage. There were so many flavors and so many things going on. Wendell, who's on the team, created something that we're calling Maestro, which is centralization of all of these starter kits, and it allows us to spin up new flavors very easily if we want to. So that'll be public probably this week or next week. And so basically, like, from a management perspective, PRs will no longer flow through the individual repos, but rather through Maestro, and then it kind of like trickles out to the individual repos. So how many do we have? We have, I think with the Svelte stuff, it's like 20 variations on our starter kits right now. Because it's like blank, Fortify off, Work OS, then the flavor, then the stack, then the, I mean, it just like is a lot to manage. So thank you, Wendell. Thank you, Maestro. We're excited to get that out there.
So and then I was actually doing so like just on my little Laravel News Instagram account, like once a week I try to do like a video. I'm like, the AMA, like ask me anything, and I will try to answer questions.
Yeah.
And I had one last week, and the question was, is the Laravel team ever going to make an API only starter kit?
Stay tuned.
Stay
tuned. Yes.
Okay, all right.
It is right now in the project planning phase. We're trying to figure out, APIs can go a lot of different ways. We're trying to figure out which opinions we want to inject in there and how flexible we want to make it. So we're in that phase of it, but like it's probably going to come to fruition very soon. So yes, the answer, I can say yes. Yeah.
All right, you heard it here first. This is breaking news on the live stream, thanks to Joe. So if he gets in trouble, don't blame me. So next up, Wayfinder.
Yes.
All right, we'll start from the beginning on Wayfinder. For those that's watching that have never used Wayfinder, why do they need to use it, and what's the benefits?
If you are using JavaScript or specifically TypeScript on your front end, Wayfinder is like your new best friend. It takes what you've written in PHP, it auto-translates it over to TypeScript so you can import types and helper functions from the source of truth, which is like your PHP side, directly in your client-side code. So it automates that work for you. You'd be like hand rolling that, or using, the Spatsy DTO with the TypeScript transformer package is amazing, so you can totally use that too. But we're trying to like plug and play this in and just say, if you've written it here and it might be useful on the client side and you're writing JavaScript and not using like Livewire, we're just gonna auto import it for you. Yeah, so it's really, I use it all the time on my projects. It helps ensure that things stay in sync automatically. That's the big benefit of it. Yeah. Yeah.
Gotcha. And trying to think, there's another one you're big in, you're involved in, and I'm drawing a blank right now.
Oh man, I've got my hands in so many pots. We have Inertia, which is Pascal primarily, and we're going to talk about that a lot tomorrow. So Inertia is going to be basically the topic of my talk, and really exciting stuff going on there. Pascal's been like really cooking on that, and like every time I meet with him, he's like, I made these 4 things. Are they good? I'm like, yeah, they're great. Thanks, dude. Like, amazing. So shout out Pascal, doing great work. A lot of cool Inertia stuff going to get announced tomorrow. So excited about that.
And you said you're giving a talk tomorrow on Inertia.
Tomorrow, I'm the first talk tomorrow, so I'm kicking it off.
So everybody tune in tomorrow, first talk.
Yeah. It'll be fun. A lot of cool stuff. Yeah, excited to share.
All right. So since this is my first interview, I have no idea how the time is going. We're still good. All right.
Yeah.
2 or 3 more minutes.
We can talk more about Wayfinder.
Yeah, we're gonna talk. Yeah, we'll talk about that. You just kind of flag us when we're done.
We're building the cars we're driving.
Yeah. We're doing it live, guys. We're sorry. All right, so let's talk a little bit more about Wayfinder.
So basically, I'll take the wheel of this half a step car. There's a version of Wayfinder out that's in all the starter kits that is routes only, right? So basically, it's taking your routes and it's generating a bunch of helpers and types against those routes. We're currently beta testing a new version of Wayfinder that we announced a month ago, I think, and it does so much more than that. So it'll take your enums automatically, it'll convert them to TypeScript. It knows about your validation on your routes. So like when you are submitting forms, you can auto sync like what the client side is sending with what the server knows it needs. So basically, I like look for like, is this field like what is the name of this field? Is it required? What should the type be? Like it'll validate against all that stuff. So the road really expands before us. Like we're making it do a lot of things, which was exponentially more complicated than just routes. But yeah, I'm really happy with how it's going so far. You know, if you want to test it out, it's on the next branch of Wayfinder, and I encourage you to do so and like submit PRs for things that you find, and you know we're looking for help there. So please jump in if you want. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, they love help.
Yeah, we love help.
Every open source project loves help. So yeah, never be afraid to submit your PR.
Yeah.
And speaking of open source, you know, submit your PR. PRs are way better than comments in an open source project.
Yeah.
I will say that. That's my hot take.
Yeah, no, that's a totally valid take. Like if you have a question or you're running into a bug, it's great to submit an issue, but if you can figure it out and submit the fix for that, especially with like an accompanying test, that's gold. That's PR gold. We're very happy with that. So PRs, yeah, PRs over issues if you can.
PRs are good. PRs are good.
Yeah.
So what is just from a personal standpoint,
Yeah.
when you're running Laravel new and you're starting a new project,
Yeah.
what are you running?
What stack am I working with?
What stack? Yeah.
Okay, I am Inertia Vue. I'm still in Camp Vue. I work with all of them because I have to as part of my job, and I like React and Svelte fine. But like, especially if I'm actually writing the code, I find Vue to be the most like ergonomic of all of them. Yeah, I really like Inertia and Vue as a combo. Yeah. What are you working with? What do you do?
So mine's interesting. I am a tall stack man. I am not a big JavaScript guy because you know I'm old and I love jQuery and people don't love it anymore.
No, it's amazing. jQuery's amazing.
But yeah, so any project I boot up is basically tall stack just because I really like Livewire and it makes sense in my head the way it works. But I also don't build like full on like. I don't need all the stuff. Like all mine are like basic component-based stuff.
Sure. Caleb's doing wild stuff with Livewire right now. That man is cooking. It's amazing to watch. Yeah.
Yeah, he just launched Blaze,
right?
to speed up Livewire.
Yeah,
So yeah,
it's
yeah. So I like Livewire. He likes Vue, and we have other people here that like React.
I know.
But we
I
don't.
wonder-
But they're
I
not
wonder how
welcome
spread
on
it
the
is.
stream yet.
No,
So we can't call them out.
They got to vouch for themselves. We're not, you know. Yeah, but Inertia Vue for me. That's where I live for sure.
Okay. All right. Hey Sam, we're wrapping this interview up. So Joe, anything in closing that you want to talk about?
What do I want to talk about? I contribute PRs, try things out. We're putting a lot of things into beta. We really encourage you to try them out. You know, I wouldn't put like the new version of Wayfinder or anything in production, but if you want to try it on your local app, I know that's a lot to ask. We'll take the feedback, we'll take the help, and we love the community. We're big fans of the Laravel community.
Sweet. Well, Joe, thank you so much, sir.